Hello, welcome to WordPress One-on-One, where I will be your guide to everything you need to know about WordPress. In this video, I will be showing you how to install the WordPress system on your own hosting. Before we begin, there are a few things you need to have on hand. FTP access to your web server. This is provided to you by your hosting company. You will need to have your FTP host, FTP login, and FTP password. Please note that this is almost always not the same login and password that you use to log into your hosting account. You'll need to have an FTP client. An FTP client is software used to connect from your computer to a server on the internet in order to transfer files. There are many FTP clients available for free online, like filezilla or cuteftp. In this video, however, I'll be using Dreamweaver to transfer my files. You'll also need an HTML editor to edit your files. You can use Notepad, text editor, TextEdit, or any kind of HTML editor. Again, I'll be using Dreamweaver to edit my files. And lastly, you'll need a web browser. Once you have these things, we're ready to begin installing your WordPress website. There are 5 easy steps to installing WordPress. Download the latest version of WordPress. Create a MySQL database and user. Configure WordPress to connect to your database. Upload the WordPress files to web server. And run the WordPress installation script. So let's start. First, let's download and unzip WordPress. The most recent version of WordPress is available for download at wordpress.org. Unzip the zip file, and inside the folder you'll see all the files that need to be transferred to your web server. Next up is to create a MySQL database and user. You can do this in your hosting cPanel. So after you log into your hosting cPanel, look for the MySQL databases icon. Clicking on this icon should take you to another page where you can set up your new database and user. So let's do that. I'm going to set up my database and then add a user and password. And lastly, add the new user to the database. Make sure to keep this information on hand because we'll be using it in the next step. Now I need to make sure the WordPress connects to my newly made database. So let's take a look inside our WordPress folder. Here you'll see a file titled wp-config-sample.php. First we'll rename this to wp-config.php to get it to work. Now let's open this file up in our HTML editor and edit a few lines of code. This block of text is where we'll be putting our database information. First thing is the database name. Then our username. And then our password here. For added security, let's go ahead and enter some unique phrases for each of those authentication keys. To do this, we copy this link and paste it into your browser. Now you just copy this whole block of phrases and paste them over the existing default phrases in your WP config file. And now all our editing is done. Now that we've set up our database and user, let's head to our FTP client. Now, that FTP information I told you to have on hand comes to play. In any FTP client, you should have 2 sections split similar to this right here. One side should point to your files that you will be uploading to your server, and the other side should be the actual files inside your server. Now let's connect to your server. In your FTP client, you should have a section where you enter your hostname, login, and password. So let's do just that. Here's my hostname. My login, and my password. And I can connect. Once I'm connected, I select all the files that were inside my WordPress folder that I just downloaded and drag and drop them into whatever folder I want WordPress set up in my server. This will most likely be your root folder, which is usually your public HTML folder. So now let me drag and drop my files. Once our files have finished uploading, let's head to our site. Type in your URL, and on this screen we'll just enter some of the information for our site, like the title, what we want our username and password to be, and our email address. Make sure that you keep this information somewhere safe so you don't forget it. And now just click on Install WordPress and let WordPress work its magic. And I swear that's it. Now let's check out our awesome new WordPress website. Just enter your username and password that you just set up, and now you're logged into your dashboard and ready to start. I hope this video has been helpful and that you finally feel comfortable installing WordPress on your own server. Thanks for watching.